I did start to talk about in the previous blog looking after our heart's energy tank, emotional energy, and working out what drains us and what refuels us. And, as a recovering addict, I've had to get really vigilant, integrating with mainstream life, where people just casually drink alcohol and stay up late. And I often wonder to myself, I wonder how many people really, really would be out late. I'm talking after midnight, socialising, if there wasn't alcohol involved or drugs. Because the vehicle needs to sleep. If we don't rest, we become restless, and if we don't sleep, and for most people, they need chemical stimulus to stay awake for that late. Last night there was a big. The night before when we got to Bali, we stayed up. We stayed out until we went to Chris's brother's club townhouse. It's really funky. All the beautiful people go in Bali. We went there and then we went for dinner. Dinner at 10 o'clock at night, oh my God. For me, it's late. My body's turned off. The shop's shut. The kitchen's closed in my vehicle. I eat early. Chris and I normally eat. We've had dinner before. We've always eaten before 8. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just what your body gets used to. So to go out for dinner at 10 o'clock at night, it was beautiful food and I ate. But, I needed an early night the following night. I needed to refuel and put back into the tank because without sleep, I mentioned in a previous blog, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. If I get too tired, my emotional balance, it gets thrown out. And I'm then risking my recovery, the quality of my emotional sobriety and my physical sobriety. And so last night there was a party on at Townhouse, the black party that started at 11:30 at night. There's just no way. There's no way I can have an intelligent conversation with anyone at 11:30 at night, let alone want to socialise with people I've never met. Especially, and no disrespect to younger generations, and my sons, obviously are, younger generations, but they're interesting young men, and we have dinner parties, and they bring their friends over, and they're very interesting people that my sons socialise with. They've all got something to say. They're well travelled. They're well spoken. They're interesting, and they're conversationalists. The one thing I find often when you go out and mix with people that are drinking late in the evening, they're not interested in conversation. Really, they tend to just stay in a loop of a subject and not be able to emotionally connect. And drugs and alcohol do disconnect. They anaesthetise the heart and they quell anxiety, and that's why so many people rely on them, because to be social, especially for introverts, to be social, drugs and alcohol kill off all the anxiety. So that's why we come across as extroverted and confident, behind the mask of drugs and alcohol, but you take it away and we're awkward and anxious often. So these days I can absolutely socialise without drugs and alcohol, but in small pockets. And I'm not going to even attempt to write a cheque with my ego that my heart can't cash at 11 o'clock at night. Not going to happen. But I can certainly go out and have dinner a bit later and stay out later, which is what I'm going to do tonight. There's a white party on tonight, which is supposedly, a really big event here in Bali. So we'll go to that tonight. But, as a consequence, I'm having a slow day today, a quiet day, to fill up the tank so that I can be emotionally present. And I love observing. I love going out to these places and observing the play. And it's interesting to often watch people that show up looking very glamorous and swanky and cool in the early beginning of an evening, and then watching them 3 or 4 hours later as their self-respect seems to slip through their hands like sand. And then seeing those people the next day, and sometimes them having to apologise for what they may or may not have said. Tell you what, that's something I just don't miss about drinking and drugging. I don't miss the blackouts. I don't miss sabotaging self-respect. I love waking up knowing what I've said, knowing where I've been, knowing who I'm sleeping with, and knowing I didn't spend money I didn't have, and I didn't sell myself out. It's a nice way to live. Anyway, so yeah, socialising does drain my emotional fuel tank, and I've got to be very careful and very discerning about how I do it and where I do it and when I do it. And maybe it's a question for you to sort of ponder. If you look at your social circles, are these people you socialise with that you recharge with, or you find they drain you? And if you're socialising too often around social circles that drain you, it's costly, especially in the time you have off from work where, we get to pick and choose who we socialise with. Just food for thought.